Hello, and a happy new year to all. I'm Nick RP Green, and let's start the year by looking back over the last 12 months. Yes, it's time for my best game of the year. This is gaming's highs and lows. 2015 has been a reasonably good year for gaming. There were loads of really big releases and a ton of really good games. Now, I always have one slight problem with games of the year in that I rarely buy brand new games. I tend to be on a bit of a budget, and so I tend to wait for Steam sales. So, as I always do, I looked on Wikipedia to have a look at which games came out this year and which of them I actually played. Here is a big list of them now. So, let's have a top 3. And remember, these are only games that I've actually played this year. So don't be surprised that you won't see things like Fallout 4, Witcher 3 or Undertale, those kind of things, because I haven't played them. And don't worry, I will play Fallout at some point. Starting us off at number 3 is a game you've probably not heard of, by a developer you've almost certainly never heard of. Mini Metro by Dinosaur Polo Club had been in Steam Early Access when I first played it, but it was officially released in November. It's an indie strategy sim where you are charged with creating a metro service in various different locations: London, Hong Kong, New York, Paris, etc, etc. The gameplay and art style are extremely simplistic, and for a game so simple, I found it incredibly stimulating and at times very relaxing. You set where the lines go between stations, you had trains and carriages, and at the end of the week you're rewarded with extra items like trains, carriages, extra lines, bridges and tunnels, things like that. And the idea being is that you lose if a station gets too full of passengers, so you have to make sure that your tracks are efficient so that passengers are getting picked up and dropped off as efficiently as possible so that you don't get a game over. Sitting back and watching the little coloured trains run around the track you've created, it's a similar joy to having made your own model railway, and I found it very therapeutic. The game now has music and sound effects that complement the soothing nature very well, and even a daily challenge has been added to give you more reason to keep coming back. It was really simple, yet highly addictive, and I managed to sink 15 hours into this indie gem during 2015, so definitely one to grab if you just need to take a nice 10-15 minute break and soothe out to something simple. At number 2 then is The Beginner's Guide by Davey Reedon. That's the guy behind the equally fantastic The Stanley Parable. If you've heard anything about this game, you'll know that reviewers had a hard time reviewing it because just talking about the gameplay or the story itself will pretty much ruin the experience, which is why rather than gameplay footage, all you're seeing right now is the trailer and screenshots that are on the Steam page. All I'll say is that Reedon narrates the game himself and takes you on a bit of a personal journey and how some very specific games in his life had an impact on his life. It's very intriguing, it's highly thought-provoking, and at times it's rather emotional. I finished the game not quite knowing what or how to think, but knowing that what I had just played was making me think something. I can't remember the last time before this that a video game hit me so emotionally like The Beginner's Guide did, so I strongly recommend you give it a try. But before I finish with The Beginner's Guide, if you're not sure whether you'd like this style of game and you don't want to put money down on it, later in the year, a developer called Crows, which is a new studio which is being directed by the designer of the Stanley Parable. They released a completely free game called Dr. Langskov, the Tiger, and the Terribly Cursed Emerald, a Whirlwind Heist. I nearly picked this over Mini Metro actually for number 3. It's very funny, it's only about 15 minutes long, and it's narrated by Simon AMSTELL, who used to be the host of Nevermind the Buzzcocks. He's a British comedian. Give that a go first. As I said, it's completely free, and if you think you'd enjoy a similar, albeit less humour driven and more thought provoking style of game, then definitely pick up The Beginner's Guide. So number 1. What could possibly be number 1? What could I, Nicholas Robert Pierce Green, have possibly played this year that I would consider to be number 1? I'll have to ask myself a few questions. Am I a massive Metal Gear fanboy? Yes I am. Has it been my favourite game series since I played Metal Gear Solid 1? Yes, it has actually. Was there a Metal Gear game released this year? Yes, there was! Should I pick that? Yeah, yes. Duh, I'm going to pick that. All my friends already knew this was coming from the moment I said I was going to do a Game of the Year video. Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain is my Game of the Year for 2015. I'm a massive Metal Gear fanboy, and Phantom Pain delivered it spectacularly. Just for perspective on the fanboyism though, I do honestly believe that MGS5 is the best game I played this year. Last year I wouldn't have picked Ground Zeroes as Game of the Year, it was released then, but A, it wasn't a game, it was a tech demo, and B, The Binding of Isaac Rebirth. Anyway, while Phantom Pain does have its issues, in particular the story seems to end rather abruptly, and there's been evidence of a cut chapter, a mission, etc. I've got plans for a video to talk about that at some point. What makes it the best is the gameplay. It's a huge open world to explore and so much to do in it. A decent chunk of story missions and a ton of extra side missions that are actually fun and feel rewarding to complete, and not simply a complete for completionist's sake situation. Eventually they do get a little repetitive, but there's enough variety in there to make them feel useful and interesting. The stealth mechanics have never been so good. The amount of detail in the gameplay is incredible. Like the idea that if I call my horse over whilst I'm sprinting, the horse will run alongside me and I can mount it without breaking a stride. Or being able to duck whilst in a vehicle to hide, or using supply drops to knock out an enemy. The game rewards you for thinking cleverly. And I know it sounds cliche, but it does let you play the game your way, the way you want to play it. You can select different equipment, buddies, uniform, even take a vehicle along with you. There's so many options and so much to do. The story, albeit the problems I mentioned before, is brilliantly devised once again by Hideo Kojima. A fantastic balance of realism and fantasy that's made the Metal Gear series so memorable. The characters are fantastic, really interesting. There's so much depth to it all. Phantom Pain has genuine moments of humour, sadness, fear, and countless moments that really make you feel for the characters. And every one of them is so well performed. Kiefer Sutherland Snake does an admirable job, and it becomes very easy to stop thinking that he's not David Hayter and that he is Big Boss. It really didn't bother me as much as I thought it would, despite being a really big fan of Hayter's Snake. The rest of the voice cast is great, but in particular Robin Atkin Downes brings in an outstanding performance as Kazuhira Miller. Extremely passionate, highly engaging, and never too over the top, which is about right for the heightened realism of Metal Gear. It's just a great performance. There's so much to do, so much content, and a masterpiece of gameplay and scale. I finally finished the game after 47 hours of playing. The credits rolled, and then the message Chapter 1 complete appears. After 47 hours, I'd only finished half of the story. 65 hours was the final time upon actually completing the game. 65 hours! In a time where big budget games are being stripped to the bare bones to make way for DLC, single player campaigns are barely 4 hours in some cases, or in other cases like the new last gen Black Ops 3 and Star Wars Battlefront, they don't exist altogether. 65 hours. It's just huge. It's fantastic value for money, and it's all the more impressive for being a story-driven action game. And I haven't even played the new Metal Gear Online yet. I've got the PC version, so I'll be looking forward to that when the PC version finally gets it. Just brilliant. A fantastic end to a fantastic series for Mr. Kojima. I can't wait to see what the new Kojima Productions does next, and let's hope Konami just leaves Metal Gear well alone. As the great Jim Sterling would put it, fuck Konami. To finish, some special mentions. Firstly, to Lara Croft Go from Square Enix. This was a great little mobile puzzle game, similar style to that of Hitman Go, but a far superior game. Not very long, but for a mobile game, pretty good, and a new set of challenges was added later on in the year, completely free of charge. Lovely art style, fun puzzles that aren't complicated to the point of frustration, and easily the best mobile game of the year. And the last special mention goes to Batman Arkham Knight. What a way to end what's been a fantastic series, by delivering a repetitive, chore-filled game with a boring Batmobile crammed down your throat far too often, and a PC version that, well, you know, I'm not even going to bother going down that route. Everyone knows what happened with it. I finished the game and I then got my refund. Oh, and the Harley Quinn pre-order DLC was just disgusting. Feels like the development team made it in a day. uninspired and far too short. I feel sorry for anyone who ended up spending money on it. Arkham Knight, I was so hyped for you, and you let me down big time. The game itself is actually good, but it's easily the worst game in the series, and I'm even including Arkham Origins in that. And the PC port fiasco not only makes it my worst game of the year, but the final straw of me ever pre-ordering anything ever again. Warner Brothers, we're not surprised, but shame on you, Rocksteady. You were better than this. Let's just hope this was a case of the publisher dragging the developer down with them. I really hope so. Thank you very much for watching. Obviously leave some comments below comparing your list with mine. Remember, these were from the games I actually played this year. Don't start complaining, oh, you didn't put Fallout / Witcher / Undertale in your top 3. I didn't play them, so they're not in my top 3. Like and subscribe if you like what you've seen, and I've still got a few more of these videos to do. Next time will be my top 3 League of Legends updates of 2015, and my very last one will have a competition in it. Till then, Happy New Year!